So that was Quest for Glory 4. Now, there's a couple of things I missed out on just for timing's sake. There's a lot more tarot card readings, and I think they're very interesting because they're actually based off of how tarot cards really work, but they're very, very long, and I just didn't know if I could make them entertaining. They're worth playing the game to see for yourselves. I missed a lot of the dream sequences still, because of the way I streamlined the game. You know, I knew exactly what I was going for, and I took care of everything as quickly as I could. So there's a lot of little extras in the game that were missed out on just because I didn't want the LP to be too long or boring or anything like that. And then, of course, like all Quest for Glory games, there's the other character classes who have completely different adventures. The wizard's the only one who meets the Queen of the Fairies. The thief's the only one who meets the chief thief. The paladin's the only one who gets to cure the Rusalka. The fighter doesn't get to do anything special, I don't think. Anyway, so Quest for Glory 4, probably my favorite in the series. And now we're going to move on to the last game in the series, Quest for Glory 5. I have problems with this game. The story is still there. The writing is still there. You get to feel like you finished your hero's story. That's good. That's there. But they changed the way the game looks and works, which I dislike. First of all, instead of all the games up to this point, which is, you know, that 2D painted on a 3D moving, it's a fully 3D rendered game, which doesn't look that great, honestly. Also, combat is unavoidable and open world, and what I mean by that is, in all the games up till now, anytime you fought a monster, you went to that separate screen, or, you know, the format of the game changed so that you could do a combat sequence. That's not the case in this one. This is more like an MMO. You run around, you hack and slash, you run around, you hack and slash, and the monsters are just running around in real time. It's also unavoidable. As you'll see, several of the quests that we have to undertake necessarily require lots of combat. And I know it was harder to avoid combat in the last one, but it was possible. And you guys saw the first three. As a non-fighter character, you can go through most of the series doing maybe one scripted fight per game. And those fights are different than the rest. Fighting the Kobold, for example, was handled differently than any other combat in the game. I don't think we fought anything else in that game. In the third one, you can run away from all the combats except the one in the mirror, which is a scripted thing. You get down to a certain point, the other thief comes behind, or the thief comes behind, and in this one you have to fight. You just have to, and it feels like the genre of the game changes a little because of that. But there's still enough stuff there to make it a Quest for Glory. You know, we wrap up the story. There's even a point where they make a hint as to what the sixth Quest for Glory game could have been, but never does become. Because in each game, up to this point, each game contains a reference to the world or the country where the next game is going to take place. And all of them reference Sumeria. So this was planned to be the conclusion to the story. So I'm glad that we got it. A couple of fun things. There was a lot of extra content that was planned for this game that never came out. If you downloaded the demo of this game way back in the day, it had a multiplayer option where you could actually play as some of the characters that you meet in the game as well as the hero. I don't know how multiplayer works in an adventure game, but I would have loved to have found out. They were planning... They weren't going to call it DLC, they would have called it patches. But they were effectively planning DLC, which would introduce the gnome from the fourth game. He would come back, and a couple other things. And again, we never got that, because this game came out just about the time that the adventure game genre just died. So there was very little support. I get the feeling that it was rushed at the end, and all the extra stuff they wanted to do, just forget it. Just publish the game so we can make a little bit of money, and then we can kill this. So, Also, because it came out, it's not old enough to run in DOSBox, so I'm going to have to resort to the old method of literally pointing my camera at the screen, which I hate. I don't think it looks good, but I don't have the technology, I don't have the components to capture the video directly. I wish I did. It's unprofessional that I'm going to have to do it this way, and I apologize. But we've made it this far in the series, and I think it's time for Beldurnik to finish his story. So with that in mind, this is Quest for Glory 5. I'll do another video at the end of the game to do a little wrap-up. See you in Gloria.